Hey guys, welcome to this week's edition and the final team edition of Double K's College Roundup. On this week's edition, I'll be discussing my sleeper pick for the Pac-12, the California Golden Bears. The Bears finished last season 8-5, 4-5 in the Pac-12 after starting the season 5-0 and looking to get themselves ranked and noticed. They fell off a cliff and ended up finishing the season 3-5. Under new coach Sonny Dykes, they're using their Bear Raid offense and a 4-3 defense to get the job done. Their offense ranked second in points per game with 37.9 points per game, second in yards per game, averaging almost 530 yards per game. Also averaged 153 yards on the ground, which was 11th best in the conference out of 12 teams, and 376 yards in the air with Jared Goff as their quarterback. Their defensive stats were not that good, averaging giving up 30.7 points a game, which is good for 8th in the conference, 454 yards per game, which is good for 8th in the conference, 210 on the ground, which is good for 11th once again, and then 244 yards per game in the air, which was 6th. So the Bears were on the cusp of being a pretty decent team. They ended up beating the Air Force in the Armed Forces Bowl 55-36. So the Bear Raid offense can put up some definite points on the board. Last year's individual leaders were Mohamed Khalfani, who had 586 yards and 1 touchdown for the Bears last year. And then as well, QB Jared Goff, who's now playing for the Los Angeles Rams, who have almost 5,000 or 4,700 yards passing, 43 touchdowns to 13 interceptions, and leading the Bears to those 8 wins. Something that they haven't done in a few years. Wide receiver Bryce Treggs, who also was recently on the 49ers roster. I believe he's on their special teams to have 956 of those yards and 7 touchdowns by himself. Cal was a very potent offense last year, and with David Webb this year, they look to be a very potent team again. They have returning starters in Vic Inwere, Mohamed Khalfani, both juniors and seniors respectively. They have Raymond Hudson, a junior wide receiver that's returning on the defensive side. They have Devontae Wilson, a senior defensive end. Tony McConney, who is a junior defensive tackle, and Darius Allensworth, who is a junior cornerback. Now, digging into Cal's schedule, they've opened up the season with a nothing win, a loss to San Diego State, and then a big win over number 11 Texas. At home. They have big games coming up again against Oregon, in week 8. They have another big game coming up against USC, a game that's always tough for Cal no matter what. In week 9, in week 12, they face off against their rival Stanford. Game that I'm actually trying to go to. And week 13, they'll face off against UCLA. So the Bears, I picked them to finish about 9-4 this season, 6-3 in the Pac-12, and make a little bit of noise. They probably won't win the conference, but they will upset a team that might. So that's been it for this week's Double K's take. Y'all, or not Double K's, but Double K's College Roundup. Y'all come back next week when I tell y'all which team is going to win the Pac-12. Till next week. Peace.